of the happening. There's one big happening in the world. It's happening daily.
A happening in Holland by the Provos, today's rowdiest protest movement with a freer tomorrow for their cause. Beatniks? Or is there method in their madness?
A happening is a happening is a happening is a happening is a happening. Everything is happening.
Provos, short for provocador, exploded into the news last March with a smoke bomb demonstration at the widely unpopular royal wedding of Holland's Princess Beatrix to the ex-German army officer Klaus von Amsterdam. They'd been prodding at Holland's complacency for a year before that and claimed their protest at the wedding wasn't simply anti-German. It gave them a ready-made audience for a happening, and through that, publicity for their ideals.
Today, they carry on their tiny war against apathy from a cellar in Amsterdam, publishing a newspaper and concocting their madcap happenings. Sympathizers say they represent a nation's conscience. Enemies say they're junkies, beatniks, and juvenile delinquents. Their aim, to provoke into change a society with too many material values, can be identified with most anarchist movements. The important difference is that the Provos are growing in influence and power. Their newspaper shouts its warnings about affluence to 20,000 subscribers each month. They've just held an international discussion on creativity, as they called it. They claim 40,000 sympathizers among the million people in Amsterdam, where they have their most important distinction, political power. The man on the bicycle is Bernard de Vries, who was elected to the town council with 13,000 votes on slogans like, "Vote Provo, you'll laugh your head off." Attending council meetings by bike is one way in which de Vries goes on poking fun at pompous city fathers.
Provos are a coalition of students, writers and artists. Happenings, the zanier the better, are the best means of Provo propaganda. Each Saturday night they hire a hall in Amsterdam to preach to the curious as well as the converted. Each week the audience gets bigger.
Het is toch maar een druppel op een gloeiende plaat. Wat geeft het? Wat geeft het? Het is toch maar een druppel op een gloeiende plaat. Nog een bom en nog een bom wordt afgeschoten somewhere in world happening. All over the western asphalt jungle. Omdat het land in nood is. Omdat het land in beroering is. Omdat het land regeringloos is. Omdat het land stuurloos is.
Among the supporters is filmmaker Louis van Gasfern.
This Provo thing is quite a complex thing. We struggle in this country. God is split up in 100 parts. There are many churches with all sorts of interpretations. And they all call themselves Christians. We had informed there is 56 political parties in this country. We are heroic dike builders based upon Calvinistic thinking, and we have constant battles against the water, and we do a sort of mental masturbation with all this, and that I think is a dangerous thing. Now, we had this Second World War. Now, who is coming out of this World War? A new generation which were born during that war. They are brought up in a post-war period in which things are being taught about Nazism, about Germans, Germany. So this, before that marriage of our princess with the German Klaus, before that we had another period of atom bomb, of hope with Kennedy and the Pope. They died. That was felt by everybody, by young people, by old people. There are no fixed points for this youth generation to hold themselves.
Jasper Grootveld has been called prophet and brilliant crank. He's certainly their best spokesman.
And in the meantime, we want to change our own life more livable. We want to use the things we need. And we want to take things for the value they have, not for more value, not for status symbolic. We want to use them simple as easy things. Life is simple, life is very simple. So we want to have this simple war, this simple pop art war against the poverty, against the poor, against the one who need.
Jasper Grootveldt's vision of the future may be naive, but simplicity is a big part of the Provos' appeal. The white bicycle was one of the most practical plans for reform. White bicycles freely available to anyone wanting to use them.
So this white bicycle became very quick an image for Provo. Bike is something, but nearly nothing. It's so simple.
White is the Provos' adopted colour because it symbolises the purity of their aims. If the bicycle scheme is whimsical and crazy, Provos say it's better than jamming streets made for horses and carts with cars and lorries.
I got this idea from during the 44-45, the hunger winter, when it was hunger in Amsterdam, and was playing with kids outside Amsterdam, and I would like to have a bike, but bikes weren't there anymore. They were all stolen by the Germans, and I got the idea of lots of people having this bike free from this time already, and it came into Provo again to me when we saw all this traffic jam in town, you know. It is really impossible to go with a car from one point of the center of the city to the other point. It is very difficult. There's all kind of jams on the canals and on the streets, narrow streets and so, and it's also very noisy, you know, and very make you nervous, because lots of accidents and lots of gas, you know, lots of smoke, lots of dirt smoke, really poisonous smoke.
If they have effective authority, I think they have reached many, many people in this country. These people are all here in this ashtray, this country. Look, it's moving, 30 million people are here. They come in this and do an act, present themselves, are there completely with a crystal clear program. So what is happening here, in fact, is that this community in which everybody was living in his way, now suddenly, by the fact that the attention is drawn to things which appeal to them too, this is where this whole community has got a shock.
The white bicycle was the Provo solution to the 20th century nightmare of city noise and city traffic. But the experiment didn't get much of a chance. The police said an unlocked bike was a temptation to thieves and confiscated the lot. Provos have answered with typical resilience and are fitting identical locks to all their bikes and distributing keys. The city, they say, belongs to people, not cars.
We want to have electric taxis, and we want to have these white bicycles and some traffic on the canals. But some silence in town. Some silence without all the noise of the false images. All the false images. What's so stupid?
Traffic isn't the only false image for Provos.
This is building as a system, and the people that are living in it are supposed to fit in the system. They are going out at the time the system prescribes. They're coming home at the time the system prescribes. Man is doing his job as a part of the system. The woman is keeping the household as a part of the system too.
Provo Andre Vink, a theology student, condemning the egg box life in suburbia. Battery living, they say, dulls the imagination and kills any desire to express it.
Creativity is a word that doesn't sound in the halls of these buildings. The main fact of Provo is it's not a plan office. We are not making blueprints for the future, but we are provoking people to think about themselves and their future. We are provoking them to take their responsibility in their own hands, and not to give them to authorities who use them for their own means, which in most cases are only economic means, industrial means.
The Provos want to export their ideas and have bought an old canal barge to take them to Germany and Britain. They have another use for it, a mounting platform for a huge catapult to pelt smoke bombs at the city.
Organisation is alien to Provo ways, but some of their reforms are well thought out and practical. White chimneys against smoke pollution, white housing to preserve old buildings from big office blocks, and white police, a plan to disarm them and turn them into social workers on patrol. They're a mixture of irresponsibility, fun, and a devout idealism that's almost a religion. Their figurative messiah is Santa Claus. Hans Tuinman is a Provo who used a term in jail to write a successful book called Full-Time Provo.
Every human being is expecting something. Is expecting, well, they were expecting everything. They were expecting Jesus Christ, they were expecting God, they were expecting God knows what. But all in this evolution of mankind, we see that there are groups who are using the things people are expecting. I mean, you had the expecting of Christ, and then you got the church. That's the organization. So we are expecting Sinterklaas.
Class is the not yet coming. The class is the one who has to come to clear everything up. You know, I am just an exhibitionist. I'm just an exhibitionist of my own addiction, for instance. Where are the cigarettes? Here. I am smoking in public. All this. I never buy cigarettes. Never buy them. I smoke them for my neighbor addictions, from the other nicotinists, from the other addicts. I ask them and they give to me. And I never buy them. But I smoke as long as this problem is in the world. This is a big problem, you know. And I'm an exhibitionist. I am in the clouds of the dark. You know, I'm in the clouds of the dark. I'm just a poor, shabby addict. To cigarettes, for instance. And to lots of other things, lots of other noise, lots of other false images. You know? But I call for class. When class comes, everything is clear. No trouble. No misunderstandings. Here's a light. De magische cirkel van medevenoten. De medeverantwoordelijkheid dragen om...
Provos see a future where only computers will work. People would simply play. The plan is the ultimate heresy in Holland, where most people dismiss them as half-baked adolescents who'd benefit from a bath. Yet the Provos have been able to disturb Parliament and the royal family, as well as the people of Amsterdam. They raised the government from its deliberations by sounding a fire alarm, and attacked the state opening of Parliament by throwing smoke bombs in front of Queen Juliana's carriage. When the police arrived in their black mariahs, Provos fed them peanuts through the bars. The monkeys weren't amused. Their clashes with the police have sometimes been violent. Louis Gasfern made a film about one of them, which has been banned in Holland.
Now, watch this scene, for instance. Here is the crowd, Amsterdam people, going to this exhibition of photographs made at the day of the wedding of Princess Beatrix and Klaus. There were a few thousand people. Out of this crowd, suddenly came one man. He walked towards his bike and wanted to pick up his bike, as he told me later. And there was one policeman. This policeman, identifying this man coming out of this crowd with the whole crowd, just started beating, as he was, this policeman, as I see here on this picture, full of fear, but the whole thing ran out of hands. And in the first slow motion sequence, you see it here, there comes the student. We see what's happening. The policeman makes a gesture that he wants to beat him. He raises his hand to cover his head. Then the other policemen are coming in and they all go on beating. And you see the constant defensive position of this man being beaten up. I asked this student, do you deal with the Provo movement? He said, not at all. I was just interested to have a look at the exhibition of photographs. And then he had left the exhibition, went through the crowd, left the crowd, and walked slowly towards his bike, because my bike stood there. That's the title of the film. And he said to me, because my bike stood there, I wanted to grab my bike and wanted to go home. So I think we have to do something about it. Here are certain democratic values in danger. This citizen, any citizen, you, me, have right upon a certain way of living, a certain way of life. Okay, every country has police, of course. Laws have to be executed. But this has nothing to do with execution of law. When one of the Provo girls walks in the street and gives dried raisins to just passengers who pass by, she is condemned because the authorities say you're making an act in the street that is forbidden. Acts have to be done on the stage.
Over here is a man with a harmonica. He's going something to play on the harmonica.
Is playing something for the very nice girls in Amsterdam.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have played my music all over Europe for the last 12 years. The police do not like my music, but the public do. I'm sorry there are many people here who do not speak English, but I will play some music which is free, and which has some love in it. Thank you.
I will translate it for you. The man is going to play some music.
Well, I don't quite know whether one can wholly approve at all times of the things that Provos do.
That was the first number.
They tend to approach things in rather rag. It's rather like a student rag at times, and it is boisterous, and they do annoy people a great deal. They hold up traffic. They cause a great deal of mess at times. So Dutch people on the whole are not always very happy about them, but they're a fact of life at the moment, particularly in Amsterdam and The Hague, and to a less extent in Rotterdam.
George Noordhoff is a Dutch television executive. His attitude towards the Provos is slightly more tolerant than that of 30 million other Dutch people.
Now, you look like a disheveled sort of cinema commissionaire. I mean, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to shock the Dutch?
Well, no, you see, it's like this. I'm just looking like a silly donkey, just the same as well, our Prime Minister looks when he has an official opening of something.
I know Provos are meant to provoke people, but what do you stand for? What do you believe in?
Well, I think I can explain it like this. A provo is somebody who wants to be a warning. They are...
A warning for what?
A warning for this society. The image of our society is that everything is going good, that everything is going fine, that we have reached it. But that isn't true.
Why isn't that a good thing?
Well, look around you. I mean, what have we reached? We found out an atomic bomb. We found out all kind of sociable systems that are standing against each other and making themselves up to make a terrible world war. We found out so many problems that we can't find the solutions anymore. And yet everybody is saying, everybody is telling us it's going fine with our civilization. It's going good, it's going in the good way, but it isn't true. We are just feeling that things are going wrong. We just want to warn the people from, just think about in what kind of society you are living. We don't know the answer. We can't say it must go like this or it must go like that. We just can say, well, it's not the way, getting a motor car or getting a bigger motor car, getting a bigger house, getting all kinds of things to make life easier. I mean, life isn't an easy game.
Met de magische cirkel van de machthebbers zien als u de regenten.
Master of happenings Jasper Groupveld runs a personal campaign against smoking. This coughing ritual is designed to cure smokers of the habit. Provo methods are easy to question and their sincerity. A lot of what they say bears listening to. They've succeeded, where others have failed, in injecting some fun and games into a bleak political scene. But they admit there's faint hope of their ever achieving an anarchist rebellion. Their biggest problem is getting people to understand that they want nothing more or less than to change human nature.
One great story happened, and this makes much clear. We have a monument in this city, and there is in this is sculptured a line Dutch made by a very well-known Dutch poet. It was hard to read because in this type of stone it was bas-relief. So there was a committee formed after many letters have been received here in the town hall. We can't read what's hammered out. We can't read the poetry. So the committee decided we're going to do something about it. And they wanted to have every letter painted to make a sort of contrast. So they decided, they went there and looked at it very seriously. You know how these committees are, not in white suits, but in very black with Eden hats on. And they said, yes, yes, let's put it in gold, said one. And the other said, no, in black. And the other said, no, dark red. And so they all had their suggestions because there is seldom unity in a committee. And so they decided, let's put on 12 colors for test. There was a man phoned, and he came there on the Dam Square, which is the central square in this city. And he worked there maybe for 2 days or one full day from 8 o'clock in the morning until late 6 to put in these 12 colors, very precise, much labor, much energy, much talent, much money involved. The next day the committee would come to have a look and decide which color. But that same night, 2 policemen were strolling there and thought, hey, what is this? The monument? That's where these Provos actions takes place. That is their relation. The monument is for them the action place of Provo. What? Colors on the monument. This is a Provo thing. They phoned right away cleaning people of this city, and they came with trichloroethylene or whatsoever and brushed it all off and clean. And the next day the committee stood there with the Eden hats and the black coats and saw there was nothing left. And they said, the monument has never been so white and clean before. Now there is the skull of the policeman and there is the skull of the committee. There is my skull and there is the skull of the Provo. Now you have to make up your mind what's going on in their individual skulls.